as you can see, we've lost our lovely man Rob. I apologise for not updating you sooner, but I came back from the vet and I was not feeling well. And 2 days later I went down with a terrible bug with sore throat and coughing. My voice is still not good. And I'm sure it's to do with the stress of losing him. And I always get sick whenever I lose a rat. So anyway, on the 29th of May, I noticed in the evening that Rob wasn't really, his breathing was not as good as it had been. He was okay, he was happy and he was fine. But I just thought that the new antibiotic is not working. I'm going to have to phone the vet. And so I got up in the morning on the 30th and I was about to phone the vet, and I had Rob out on the bed with me, and I noticed the right side of his abdomen at the back across his hip area was swollen. And my daughter was staying with my granddaughters, and I got her to come and have a look, and she said, yeah, he's definitely got a swelling, but he's really bright and active and he's not unwell. And I said, I know, when I've had rats with kidney failure before, the swelling's been on both sides, so it was a little bit puzzling because it was different. So anyway, I phoned the vet, my normal vet wasn't in, and I spoke to another vet, and she said, providing he's okay and he's not in pain, monitor him and then phone up tomorrow when your usual vet is in. As it turned out, she wasn't in. She was not coming back till the Monday. But I phoned back on the 31st in the morning because when we got up, the swelling on his hip area was quite bad on the right side, really puffy, like fluid. And his breathing was really rapid. So I suspected he was in kidney failure. So we went in and so we couldn't see his normal vet, but we did see one of our vets that we know quite well. So it was good that I saw somebody I actually knew, and she said to me he is full of fluid and he is in kidney failure. He's probably got 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 days left. You could take him home, bring him back tomorrow. We have put him to sleep tomorrow. And I looked at my little man and he just looked miserable. Up until the day before, he'd been happy and bright and eating and drinking, and on the morning of the 31st, his bed was dry. He only did 1 tiny drop of urine that morning. Although he was eating and drinking, he wasn't eating very much, and he just looked sad, and he was enjoying his cuddle next to me, but he wasn't happy. And, you know, as my usual vet said to me, Primrose was a different situation. With Rob, you will know when the time is right. Because Primrose was bright in between her episodes of bleeding, it was a hard decision. But with Rob, he was gradually going downhill, and then with kidney failure, it often comes on quite suddenly, and it's very apparent that your rat is unwell. And I just knew that this was time for him to go. I didn't want to take him home for one night and risk him getting sicker and sicker and maybe going in as an emergency and him being in pain and in distress, or waking up and finding that he died at home, because it would have been quite painful for him. And I just thought to myself, like, I can't, much as I want to take him home, I don't want to take him home for one day. I want him to come home forever. You know, I want him home with me and not sick, and that's never going to happen. So I had him put to sleep, and it was very, very sad. But it was the right time for him. And I'm just very upset again. Yet again, it's when I have my family visiting. I sent them out for the morning so I could go to the vet on my own and come home on my own, because I knew I was going to be upset. And when I got home, I couldn't even speak. All I could say to my son is, I'm ratless. I've got no rats. So then I had to recover myself before my grandchildren got home. And then they kept me busy for 2 days. And Rob went off to the crematorium, and I was just basically numb. And then I got him back on Friday, a week after he died. And it's just really sort of hit me this weekend. And I've just spent the last week, I've been so miserable and unhappy. And people are trying to distract me, but I don't want to be distracted. I don't want something to fill the gap that Rob has left and the other rats, because nothing can fill that gap. And I know that I have to find something to do to distract myself, but nothing will ever replace the rats, ever. A few days after, for several days after he died, I kept thinking I could hear him shuffling in his cage at night. It was so strange. And I've had this thing before when I've lost a rat, that I feel that they're still with me for several days, and then they get cremated, and then I don't hear them after I get the ashes back. So I don't know if this is my mind just tricking me, which is really bizarre. But other people have told me the same thing, so I don't know. It's just we're so used to hearing our rats shuffle around at night, but when you get the ashes back, it's so final that they've gone. It's just like, you know, you're alone now. And I know this is, for me, is just a break. I've agreed to have 3 months this summer that I will not take in any rats. It's going to be very hard. I may still have some that I will rehome, because if rats come up that need homes, I will still try to rehome them. But I've agreed not to bring any into the house for 3 months because we need a lot of work done. And we've got to have painting done, and I've agreed to have a rest. But quite honestly, I don't think not having rats is going to help my health at all. I think it's just going to make me worse, and that everyone around me will see that, you know, I was better with them. But I'm not going to make any decisions at the moment. I'm just going to push on and try and get the house sorted out, get all the repairs done, get it painted up. So we just have to see what happens. But these 2 months I had with Rob, with him on his own, were a very, very special time. He came out of himself. When he was alone with Brandon, he started to become more confident. He didn't really ever fit into the group he was in brilliantly. But him and Brandon alone, they did get on really well. And then I think the 2 months with me, he really regained his confidence, and he was such a happy little man. And I have to say, the last few weeks, he's probably been the happiest he's ever been. And he's really enjoyed that time with me. So it was a really special time, and he was a really, really special rat. It's never just a rescue rat, and never just a rat. All rats are individual, and they're really special, and he's left a massive hole in my life. So rest in peace, little man.